You gave a hint towards your tips. Um, why don't we just dive in? I want to start like you have this awesome list here for us. I'm going to put it up on the screen. Run us through some of these things to focus on when we're talking about cold outreach.
Absolutely. So this might be applicable for all 10 pieces to you. Maybe it's just a few. So I want you to really absorb this list and don't try to do everything at once for yourself. Be kind, but let's try to focus on one or two as we ease into it. But really, just at that starting point, let's have a subject line. That's what SL stands for. Number one, let's shoot for 2 words. No numbers. Let's keep it. We don't want to look like spam. We don't want to seem like that used car salesman ad. Short and sweet, but enough so that they understand what's this email about? Why are they going to open it? And also, you want to keep it at that third to fifth grade reading level, which I know is probably funny to some of you guys thinking, like, oh, geez, why would you want to do that? You can actually scare certain prospects away the higher up you go because you might be using acronyms, lingo, terminology that they don't know. I actually got something like that for me the other day, and it was in sales. And I was like, 10 years in sales? I don't know what you're talking about. So I think you don't realize that not everybody is on that same pace in lingo that you might be practicing. And this is the biggest one, which is to avoid long sentences. It's so easy to add in words like just, this, those little filler words. Scratch it. Reread and reread and reread. You can't proofread enough, but there's definitely words in your sentences that you can cut out, certain words to make it shorter. And if you're going to look and you're going to see your sentence is probably trailing to that second line, it's probably too long. And also, having a PS at the end of the email is actually getting a lot of really great results too. So add that little note. I also think this is a good area if you want to bring in humor, bring your personality, be authentic. You don't need to be so serious. Professional always, not always so serious. Have fun with your PS and act that you have a level of, you're unsure. You're curious. Yes, you should know your persona. Yes, you should know your product. You should know those pain points, but you also don't want to assume every single person is going through the same thing. So
Mhm.
that's where be very, very curious and make sure that that's going to come out because then that's the open conversation of let's make sure we're helping each other together. Always be curious. And side note, in your entire career, whether you're writing an email or looking for professional advice or guidance, sorry, Leslie, going off topic, be
No.
curious about everything. That is where you are going to find your most growth all the time. So always be curious and then be happy. I know sometimes it's hard to convey when you're writing. So don't overthink it too much, but again, get a proofreading with yourself or to somebody else and don't be grumpy. Sometimes I think it is easy to, try to avoid long sentences and then you want to balance, but don't sound grumpy. So, just make sure you're using words that wouldn't make you sound like you're not happy to be here or, you're not enjoying your job. Life is too short to be miserable. Let's all have fun, right? And also, number 7 is let's aim for some hedge words. What are hedge words, you might ask? Oh, I'd love to tell you. So these are going to be words that are going to kind of lead in with that curious aspect as well. May, would, should, possible, might, seem, suggest, indicate, words along that line. And what I like about that is it's going to buy you a little bit of fluff in the sense you're not being end all be all things. It's a suggestion, and then you're able to guide people in the right direction without making it seem forceful. So I
Mhm.
think that's really important. And then also, it's funny it says 0 to 50 words. I probably should have, you don't want to write an email with 0 words, right? But up to 50 words. And also, what's the rule of thumb if somebody's reading on their cell phone, no more than 1 or 2 finger swipes?
Mhm.
Nobody, what is it, TLDR, too long, didn't read. Nobody has time for that. I'm actually trying to do that with my LinkedIn posts more because sometimes I write these novels and I'm like, I wouldn't want to read that. So why am I posting it? Let's keep it really just short, sweet, to the point because, like I mentioned, you only have so much real estate to take up there. You only get so much time on the phone whenever you're trying to communicate. So that's where I feel like, again, number 3, which is probably the most important on this list in my perspective, avoid
Mhm.
those long sentences because if you could chop out words, you're just going to hike down closer to that number of 50. And yeah, 15 seconds to read. That also ties in with the number 2 of the third grade reading level. We're not here to trick anybody or to outsmart people. Let's just do our jobs really well. And then, oh, geez, number 10, I hope this goes without saying, let's use proper grammar. And I know there are some people out there that believe in lower cases, don't use punctuation, it makes you seem real. I don't know, I'm just not that person. I think if you don't have grammar, if I receive those messages, I feel like the individual was probably rushed, doesn't make me feel special, I don't feel important, and, just proper capitalization and grammar. And there's so many free tools that'll give you that nice red squiggly line if you have to check some things out. So that's my 10 suggestions. And I do want to give a very unsolicited PSA to Lavender. They actually helped inspire that list for me. My team recently started using it, and this is not a paid ad. I just want to say I enjoy the product and they can get a lot of tips and tricks for you, such as that list. So, again, shout out to Lavender.